Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today is a double upload kind of day, and at the same time it's a really special day because we're talking about the Fire Knight. Like, Fire Knight is the most difficult dungeon to tackle, and it's, the most end game dungeon to tackle. So it's not a dungeon that, I would suggest to people to prioritize up until you get to like maybe late game. For early mid game, you mostly care about the dragon because of the speed gear, accuracy gear, and so on, and you care about the spider for the accessories. Fire Knight becomes really important late game because of sets like Fury that can be helpful for unkillable clan bosses, immunity that are insane for arena, or like for example if you have seers. Shield sets are again really good for arena or for like things like the Scarab King, but it's usually more like they're more niche but really important sets. Like crit damage, again, really good if you want to do more damage. Frenzy set can be a really niche set for maybe solo comps, for example. I have on my main channel, on my main account, not channel, Battle Khazar solo comp in Frenzy. Regeneration again is extremely helpful for faction wars, for example, and to keep your people surviving, and again for end game solo comps. Stun set really good for like faction wars overall, and even like there's the cases of Hegemon in arena that are in stun sets, and in general AoE champions that have AoE skills, especially AoE ones that are good in stun set, or some other niche cases like Hegi, like I mentioned. And then there's the Savage set. The Savage set is obviously the best set for damage dealers because it straight up ignores defense. So this is something that, like I said, it's a little bit more specific. I wanted to go through there and sort of like explain what can be farmed here and why. Obviously, like regen heals, frenzy boosts HP, thermometer for HP loss, crit damage, straight up damage. Shield set, it gives a shield. Immunity is like you're immune to debuffs. That's what immunity does. So for 2 tons you're immune to debuffs but not to like buff stripping. And Fury gives you more damage for HP loss. That's why I said it's for unkillable. So since it's basics, I wanted to show exactly what they did. But let's talk about the basics of Fire Knight. So the Fire Knight itself as a boss, let me get my team and get there and to explain how it is. So the Fire Knight dungeon basically consists of like having 2 waves that you have to pass, depending on affinity. Obviously, every time we have the same thing. Affinities are the same on the waves. For this dungeon, same as like Dragon, Spider, Ice Golem, and same as the keeps. The only exception is like the Arcane Keep, where there's like a combination of of like affinities. But for here, this is the reality. It's always the same affinity, and this can be tricky sometimes. So depending on that, you choose what stage you wanna fight or farm, because being wrong affinity can cost a lot. But let's check out what does the Fire Knight do, and what makes it so difficult to beat. Because like in my opinion, this is the most difficult one, honestly, to beat. It's like Ice Golem is annoying and kind of hard because of the mechanics, but this one's the hardest because this is what it has. It has Cloak of Fire, starts the battle with a Divine Shield. So basically when he has this shield, he receives 80% less damage, and at the same time you cannot debuff, you cannot thermometer control. Basically this is kind of like in the new days, it's like the stone skin. Honestly, this feels like it's a stone skin that nothing you cannot influence his thermometer, debuff, whatever. At the same time, in order to take this shield, you have to hit him, like you have to get 10 ticks on that shield. The way that you can do it is through, for example, people like Apothecary attacks 3 times at random. So this is the first thing that he does. He has a shield that every time he gets a turn, he hits and puts the shield back on, and has the number of ticks depending on the difficulty. Think lower on 7, then 10, then when we get to 21 to 25, then he has like 12 ticks. His skills decrease, like every time he attacks, he decreases the max HP, which makes it harder to take this to like really long runs. If he keeps decreasing more and more, he's gonna get to the point where he one-shots you in case you can take the hits. Then he has the same time an AoE that puts decreased speed on you, that obviously you could resist this, but you would not focus that much on it. And the other passes are just like I explained. The Cloak of Fire, same thing as the actually, yeah, the Cloak of Fire is the passive, and it's like the shield as well. So that's it. All explains here. Like you can come in and read more if there's something that I missed. But the main trick is he has a shield that you have to take out before you can start putting debuffs, controlling him, and doing damage to him properly. Otherwise, you do very little damage. As every other boss, he's immune to stun, free, sleep, provoke, block, active skills. all the crazy stuff. So how do we actually tackle him? Let me just show you how my team actually works. So I start with getting those multi-hits on the shield, and then as soon as the shield is down, you saw I can turn meter control and I can start placing debuffs on him. See, keep decreasing the turn meter. I could place the debuff now. Again, I can do that, and I can just keep damaging him. I think he's gonna get the shield back up. I'm hoping he's getting it up on this round, so you can see what I mean. Okay, maybe not. But basically, if he gets his shield back up, debuffs cannot affect him again. So even though he might still have the debuffs over here, he doesn't cleanse them, but he puts the shield and he still has them. So what you want to bring in this battle are some of the things, as you notice so far. What do I have? Decreased speed as a debuff is extremely important. I have this on the A1 at, it says 25, but because it's bookie, it's a higher chance. So you want to place it to bring a decreased speed so he goes less. Basically his base speed is I think 100, so by putting this 15% decreased speed, his speed drops to 85. So basically he's slower and slower. Another thing that's extremely important and makes this fight easier is to bring champions that do turn meter control. See, it's like attacks 4 times at random, decreases turn meter by 15% if this attack is critical. Then obviously after that, everything that you can do damage to him. But the most important one is to have people that do turn meter control. So like I said, you keep that turn meter of his down so he never goes. At the same time, having that's a good piece for this account. At the same time, having increased speed and increased turn meter, which in my case Apothecary provides, can be really helpful as well. Because if you boost your turn meter, that means you keep going again. So for example, my Apothecary is really good, not just because of his triple hit around the A1, but because of his increased speed and turn meter boost. Other options to bring for this boss are like the basic ones, the really easy ones. Satyr, as I showed, he's an MVP. Like this guy, honestly, for early game, he's a god. He brings you the 45 chance to place decreased speed. He's an uncommon, guys. You can buy him from the shop, you can pull him from mystery shots, and he does a solid job. And at the same time, he has a 4-hitter on his A2 that decreases the turn meter by 15%. Each hit, if he crits, this attack is critical. Each hit, if he crits, and if he has the accuracy, bear in mind, he needs to have the accuracy. For example, stage 13 that we're fighting, we need to have 130 accuracy, exactly as much as I have. So each of his critical hits decreases the turn meter by 15%, which is huge. And the thing is, even if you get into the late game, you might not use him anymore. He is extremely good for beating the Skinwalker's Faction Wars boss, because it's the one that keeps swapping HP. So by having a Satyr in there, you keep that boss control, turn meter back, decrease speed, and it makes it easier. So he's definitely not a bad champion to invest in early game, because you're gonna use him late game. Another good uncommon, since we're talking basics and free to play, is Armageddon. Like most people know about Armageddon, but not everybody knows about Satyr. And why is Armageddon so good is because same thing. Attacks one enemy, decreases the turn meter by 30% if this attack is critical. So if he has 100% crit rate and the accuracy again, 130. Oh my god, I actually made them both with the exact 130. That's funny. So if he has the accuracy and he crits, he basically decreases 30% of the turn meter every single time. He can just keep A1, A1, A1. Apart from that, he also has a really strong hit on the A2, an enemy max HP hit. That's really good. So there's plenty of other champions in the game that do turn meter control. There's like Visix, there's Elfgard, like she does something similar. She does this on tutor cooldown. Visix is like a free legendary that you get after 270 days. What else? Coldheart is another good one that's so rare that does, enemy max HP and turn meter control. So basically, turn meter control champions are really useful for that boss. At the same time, like I said, decreased speed is really good. Good example, good example of a decreased speed champion, let's say an epic, is, let me show you, Stagnite. He's really good because he brings you the decreased speed and a double hitter for the shield, and at the same time he brings decreased defense and attack. So if he places this on the boss, if he attacks you, you don't die. There's so many other options to do this, but like I said, the core mechanic is decrease speed, decrease turn meter, increase turn meter. And for example, if you don't have the multi-hitters in there, another option that you can bring is either counter-attack champions, which are, they're kind of rare and far in between, but there's 3 of them only. Honestly, there's like 2 legendaries, which is Valkyrie. I mean, I'm talking about AoE counterattack. There's Valkyrie that does that. Then there is a Martyr that does that. Where is she? Same thing, AoE counterattack. And then there's an epic in Skullcrusher. Basically what this does is if you have a counterattack on your champions, when the Fire Knight attacks, everybody counterattacks with their basic skills. So if you have single, double hitters, you basically straight up start with 4 or 5 ticks of the shield down. So this is a really good option to do. Another option is to bring ally attack champions. As an example, let's show you Ferric the Fat. Basically same principle as counterattack, just this is ally attack. So he puts buffs and every one of your champions attack with him. Another option that's like, you know, I think this one's just falling through the cracks, is not as useful, and you know, I don't recommend it as much anymore, but maybe it helps some people, is the reflect damage buff. Let me show you, for example, on a Fellhound. So the reflect damage buff, what it does is if you have reflect damage on your champions when the boss hits, it straight up takes 1 tick of that shield. So if all 5 champions have reflect damage, when the Fire Knight hits you, it goes out to 5 ticks and makes it easier to obviously take that shield down afterwards. But it's a little bit trickier to, you know, to speed tune in such a way that you have the reflect damage going last and making sure everybody has that. I feel like nowadays, like, you know, it's become a little bit easier than it used to be before, because of the fact that we have the presets. So as an example, if you have the counterattack champions that usually people will not bring in the team because it makes it slower, because of the fact that every time you counterattack you have to wait to see that animation. However, because of the presets, I'm going to show you, for example, what I mean. Because of the presets, you can just lock people's skills. You know, let's say this was the counterattack. I can just lock it. Let's say I brought a Skullcrusher or a Martyr or a Valk. Let's say, and you know, I don't need their shields or counterattacks on the waves. That slows it down. I can just lock it and just have it for the boss part. Just have it ready for the boss part, always open there, get the hit, and you know, control it, and you know, it makes it a lot easier to do that. Same thing for the ally attacks, you can control it. If you bring people that have ally attacks, let's say maybe you don't have too many Terminator control champs, but you have ally attack and Armageddon. Pair them together, Armageddon goes, does his A1, the ally attack does again, ally attacking does again his A1. That's your Terminator control. So there's various ways of actually controlling this boss. For example, for me, my team, what it does is I have it. So he opens with a 3-hitter on the boss, even though he might have this. He opens with a 3-hitter on the boss. Elhaina made her to prioritize the A3 and A2 because she doesn't use it. She likes to use the A1, but if this one doesn't crit, it's not a double hit. So I'm gonna make sure I always get those double hits in there when I can. Satyr, for the boss part, I made sure that he always uses his A2 because it's a 4-hitter, and I blocked it on the second wave, so I make sure that I have the 4-hitter on the boss part. Same thing, like I honestly on the first one I can leave it because it's 3-turn cooldown and I don't kill the waves too fast because of affinity. Silesia, another thing that I could do is I could make sure that she opens with this one and now with the A1, you know, because basically you want people to have their A1s ready, because there's another way that I forgot to mention. Let me show you now. There's another way that you can Terminator control the boss apart from like skills. You know, you have the skills that decrease Terminator. There's a mastery that also does that, and that is, let me see, I have it on Bible. That is Evil Eye. Decreases Terminator of when the champion hits somebody with a default skill by 20%. If it's like a single attack, 5% if it's like AoE A1s. So another 20% Terminator decrease is really helpful. However, this is only for the first time, as it says here, for the first time. So if your first A1 of that champion goes into the shield, you do not influence the Terminator at all. So keep that in mind. That's why I have, like, for example, like I said, I tried to have Silesia open with the A3 in there. Apothecary, I don't have accuracy, so I'm not gonna use it on. But you know, if there's people like that, like her or like Satyr, after I gave him Evil Eye, when he's gonna do his A1, he's gonna have Evil Eye as well. So you know, keep that in mind. There's lots of tips and tricks that you know you can use for that one. You can also check boss guides around here and see, you know, read his whole kit without going into the fight. It gives you a few tips and tricks on how to defeat that. And at the same time, you could check teams of the week, but honestly, the teams of the week, it's like, what's it called? They're like really end game teams. but I guess you could check to see, like, you know, what the principle of the champions that they use. This could be helpful. One of the champions is like the god of Fire Knights is Allure, this one. She's a demon spawn epic. Keep in mind, if you ever get an Allure, she's a god. Other ones are like Cold Heart, just like 4 hit around the A1 and third meter control and enemy max HP on her A3. Then you see like ally attack. Then you see third meter control counter attack, like I mentioned. Again, ally attacks. See, it's basically all of the teams that you see here, or like most of the teams that you see here, are have the same principle that I mentioned. Third meter controls, the right debuffs, the multi-hitters. That's the Fire Knight boss in a nutshell. But this is gonna be it for the video today, guys. I hope this is helpful. Like I said, this video is more towards people that, you know, are at the beginning of the game, not for people. So if, like, you know, most of my followers know that I post end game stuff, and also if you watch this one, it's not for you guys. You already know the principle, but it's for people that just started playing the game and do not understand the mechanics of the Fire Knight. I have several people that ask me that, or join my Twitch streams, that I want to make sure that they know this. But yeah, this is gonna be it for today, guys. We'll see you all tonight on my Twitch stream if you're gonna come and join the sharp pulls. If not, hopefully see you tomorrow. I have a subathon that starts with a guaranteed of 8 hours, hopefully goes for 24 hours. I'm celebrating hitting 1 year of Twitch affiliate, so hopefully I'm hoping to see as many of you tomorrow as possible. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Peace, love, take care everyone, bye.